Congratulations! You just stumbled onto one of the most intense survival thrillers to hit screens this year. But before we dive in, I need to ask you something. If you were nearly 70 years old, your body slowing down, your best years behind you, and you witnessed something horrific happening to an innocent girl in the middle of nowhere, would you risk everything to save her? Or would you convince yourself it's not your problem? Don't answer yet, because this old woman's answer is going to blow your mind. Our story takes place in Minnesota, and not the pretty postcard version. This is the brutal, bone-crushing Minnesota winter, the kind of cold that makes your lungs hurt just breathing, the kind of place where even locals refuse to go outside. Tourists? Forget it. And yet, here she is. Laura, a recently widowed woman, alone, driving out to a frozen lake in the middle of this frozen hellscape. She has one mission: to scatter her late husband's ashes across the ice. One final goodbye. One last act of love for the man she spent her life with. It's quiet. It's peaceful. It's almost beautiful. And then, a gunshot shatters everything. Laura freezes. At first, she tells herself it's just hunters. People hunt out here, right? It's nothing. It's fine. But then she hears it. Janakian, you're dead. You hear me? That's not a hunter. Laura's heart rate spikes. She scrambles back to her car, crouching low, eyes locked on the tree line. And through the gray winter air, she sees it. A young girl, being dragged, kidnapped, right in front of her. She grabs her phone immediately. 911. Just call 911. Simple. 0 bars, no signal. Of course, they're 30 kilometers from the nearest town, surrounded by nothing but ice and silence. Laura makes a decision. She'll drive to the police station herself. Fast. Right now. She throws everything into the car, starts the engine, slams it into drive, and goes nowhere. Her car isn't 4-wheel drive. The tires spin helplessly on the ice, screaming against the frozen surface, going absolutely nowhere. She's trapped on the lake. 30 seconds pass. A minute. Every second she wastes, that girl gets further away. Laura steps out of the car. She follows the footprints in the snow, a trail leading straight to a small cabin hidden in the trees. She spots the traffickers' truck pulling away, driving off somewhere. This is her window. She runs to the cabin, finds a basement ventilation grate near the ground, peers through it, and there she is. The girl, tied up, terrified, alive. Laura's mind is racing. She needs to act. But just as she's figuring out her next move, headlights. The truck is already coming back, and it's not alone. There's a woman with him now. 2 of them. Laura melts into the blind spot behind the cabin. She can't save the girl right now, not with both of them here, so she does the only thing she can. She moves to the basement window and writes a message in the frost on the glass. I will come back for you, I promise. Then she runs, but the female trafficker is sharp. Walking to the door, she spots something on the ground. A glove. Laura's glove. And beside it, footprints. Fresh ones. Her blood runs cold. If whoever left those footprints reaches the police, everything is over. She grabs her husband and they follow the trail, straight out onto the frozen lake. And there, sitting in the dead center of the ice, is something that wasn't there before. A small makeshift hut, smoke drifting lazily from a hole in the top. They approach cautiously, push open the door, and the male trafficker crashes straight through the ice. Now here's something terrifying that most people don't know. If you fall into water that's negative 30 degrees Celsius, which is what we're talking about here, your survival window is measured in minutes, not hours. The moment your body hits that water, it goes into cold shock. Your breathing becomes violent and uncontrollable. You gasp, you hyperventilate, you start inhaling water without even meaning to. Meanwhile, your blood vessels slam shut. Your blood pressure skyrockets. Your heart is screaming under the pressure, and even if someone pulls you out immediately, you're still not safe. Hypothermia sets in almost instantly, shutting your body down organ by organ. Without a hospital, you will die. This was Laura's plan all along. She built that hut deliberately, left her glove on purpose. She lured them here. With the traffickers scrambling to survive, Laura sprints to their cabin. But she doesn't grab the girl and run. She knows there isn't enough time. Instead, she does something colder and more calculated. She destroys every single heating system in the building, every heater, Every heat source, systematically dismantled. Because if she can't escape with the girl right now, she's going to make sure that when they come back, they freeze to death inside their own home. She finishes, heads for the door, and the truck is already there. She runs, pushes through the snow with everything she has. The female trafficker screams after her, but can't catch up. Laura disappears into the white. Laura reaches her car, and her stomach drops. They found it. They destroyed it. Tires slashed. Something smashed under the hood. It's not going anywhere. And then she notices something else. Her arm. She's been shot. Somewhere in the chaos, a bullet grazed her. And she didn't even register it until now. Survival fact number 2. In real life, you should never use blood to treat a gunshot wound. Seriously, that's a Hollywood myth that makes things dramatically worse. An open gunshot wound needs sterile treatment. Using blood increases infection risk, can cause tissue death, and in cold weather conditions like this, it's potentially fatal. The movie does it for dramatic effect. The contrast of red against white snow, the visual representation of pain and desperation. But don't try this at home or on a frozen lake. Laura patches herself up as best she can, and then she realizes something else is missing. Her wedding ring, the ring her husband gave her when they got married, gone. She tears apart the car looking for it. Nothing. She goes back onto the ice, retracing her steps. Still nothing. But what she does find, lying on the ice where the trafficker fell through, is a handgun, loaded. She pockets it without hesitation. From her hiding spot, Laura spots the male trafficker dragging something heavy across the ice. She doesn't know what it is. She doesn't wait to find out. She slips into the cabin, smashes the truck window, and starts searching for keys. Instead of keys, she finds something better. A two-way radio. She keys it immediately, voice shaking. "Hello, is anyone there? Please, I need help. There's a kidnapped girl." Silence, static, nothing. She tries again and again, desperation creeping into every word. And then a voice crackles back. Someone responds. A ranger station. They're 2 hours away, but they're real, and they heard her. She gets out her location before the transmission cuts out. 2 hours, she just needs to survive 2 hours. But then something unexpected happens. The male trafficker, suffering from hypothermia, barely standing, losing blood, stumbles to her, and he's holding out his hand. In his palm, her wedding ring. Laura stares at it, then at him. Here's a man who kidnapped a child, who shot her, who was literally dying in front of her from the trap she set. And he picked up her wedding ring and held on to it. He tells her he's not a bad person, that there's a reason for all of this, that if she just listens. Laura doesn't believe him. Why would she? People don't admit to being villains. But the ring, a truly evil person wouldn't have bothered. She makes a decision that most people would call insane. She lets him go. She tells him, "There's a town called Menchaca about 2 hours away. Ride the snowmobile, go straight to the police station. Tell them everything, send everyone." And she watches him leave. Then, he does something that removes every last doubt from her mind. He hands her extra ammunition before he goes. Laura gets moving. She hauls her car out onto the ice one last time. Not to drive it, but to use it as a beacon. She stuffs a cloth strip into the gas tank, steps back, and lights it. Black smoke billows into the gray sky like a flare, visible for miles. It's the most obvious "I'm here" signal she could possibly send. Then she runs to the road and waits. A truck pulls up. 2 forest rangers climb out, the ones she reached on the radio. Laura is out of breath, barely standing, arm bleeding through her improvised bandage. She tells them everything, rapid fire. The girl, the cabin, the traffickers, the organ harvesting, all of it. The rangers exchange a look. They don't know if she's telling the truth or if she's some kind of threat. So they take her gun, just to be safe, and drive her to a small shelter cabin nearby to wait while they investigate. They tell her to stay in the vehicle. Do not move. She watches them approach the cabin. One of them tries the door. Then the female trafficker ambushes them from behind. Both rangers go down before they can react. Laura watches in horror from the truck. She's unarmed. She's injured. And now the trafficker is walking straight toward her. In a panic, she pries open the glove box with whatever she can find, and inside a handgun. She grabs it just as the confrontation explodes. She gets a shot off. The trafficker takes a hit, but the female trafficker is still standing, and her husband, the one Laura sent away on the snowmobile, never made it to the police. He made a detour, and his own wife shot him for it, by accident, in the chaos. Laura's plan has fallen apart completely. The female trafficker forces her inside the ice shelter in the middle of the lake, a makeshift operating room built on frozen water. And now Laura finally understands everything. The female trafficker is dying, terminal illness, months to live, maybe less. She's a doctor, or was, before desperation turned her into something else. And during a routine hospital visit, she discovered that this specific young girl was a near-perfect kidney match. She didn't want to do this. She needed to do this, to survive. She forces Laura at gunpoint to strap the girl to the operating table. Then she shoots Laura and leaves her for dead. The surgery begins, but Laura doesn't die. She drags herself across the floor, every movement agony, and launches herself at the trafficker. They fight. Two women, both bleeding, both desperate, in a shack built on ice with a fire burning in the corner. The brawl sends them crashing into the stove. They tumble out through the door onto the ice. The trafficker is younger, stronger. She gets the upper hand and drives Laura into the ground, hard. Laura's coat tears open. A small metal tin falls out and skids across the ice. The ashes, her husband's ashes, which is what saved her life moments earlier when the bullet hit the tin instead of her heart. The trafficker barely glances at it. She drags Laura toward the hole in the ice, ready to drown her. And then, from inside the burning shack, the girl breaks free. In the chaos of the fire, she chewed through her restraints. She scrambles out. She finds the ranger's rifle lying in the snow. The shot rings out across the frozen lake. Laura is still breathing, barely. The girl is safe. And when Laura finally has the strength to stand, she walks to the edge of the ice hole, opens the tin, and does what she came here to do. She scatters her husband's ashes into the frozen water, quietly, alone, just like she planned. The girl who she saved watches from a distance. She survived because of this woman, this stranger, this 70-year-old widow who had every reason in the world to drive away and call it someone else's problem. She never even learned Laura's name. Winter's End leaves you sitting with a question that doesn't have an easy answer. The trafficker wasn't a monster who enjoyed cruelty. She was a dying woman who made an unforgivable choice to survive. Laura wasn't a trained hero. She was a grieving widow who made a different choice, also to survive, but not just for herself. Two people in impossible situations, two completely different decisions. We love to celebrate heroism from a distance, but we forget that every hero has a moment, a cold, quiet moment, where turning back would have been completely reasonable, where no one would have blamed them for walking away. Laura had 100 of those moments, and every single time, she chose the harder thing. Maybe that's what courage actually is. Not the absence of fear, not youth or strength or training, just choosing again and again when everything in you is screaming to stop. I'll see you in the next one. Before you scroll away, smash that like if you think Laura is an absolute legend. Subscribe for more thrillers like this every week, and comment ICE if you watch till the very end.